Top 10 Essential Facts about Coronavirus. Fact number 10 is: what is a coronavirus? COVID-19 is a coronavirus, which implies next to no to the vast majority who don't work in virology or immunology. A coronavirus is a gathering of infections that contain warm-blooded animals and birds. One in people. They can cause respiratory tract diseases, a significant number of which can be treated with over-the-counter medicine. The alleged regular cold is the consequence of a coronavirus, and keeping in mind that most are surely known and once in a while in excess of a bother, some can be deadly. COVID-19 alludes to the episode of the malady, which is separated as coronavirus disease 2019. The infection itself likewise has a name, yet it's somewhat of a significant piece: severe acute respiratory syndrome coronavirus 2, or SARS-CoV-2. Some portion of that abbreviation might be commonplace, seeing as the world previously experienced a comparable episode of SARS in 2003. Regardless, COVID-19 is a coronavirus, and it is spreading. However, that is not a reason to worry. Rather, it's a reason to get ready and secure ourselves similarly we do when it's cold and influenza season. Fact number 9 is: where COVID-19 originated. It's notable that the infection was first found in Wuhan, China. However, it's not completely seen precisely where it started. COVID-19 is likely a zoonotic infection, which implies it tends to be transmitted among creatures and individuals. This has driven analysts to search for creatures that may have initially conveyed the illness. There are a ton of similitudes between COVID-19 and two bat-inferred strains of beta coronavirus, which implies they are likely related. Since the infections share about 96% of similar qualities, it was at first accepted that bats were the wellspring of the flare-up, which was pinpointed to the Huanan seafood market, where fascinating creatures are sold. Fact number 8 is: how COVID-19 is transmitted. Since the primary day the world found out about the Wuhan coronavirus, its dread spreading started to rise. How was it transmitted, and what should be possible to restrain its transmission? Individuals have consistently dreaded Ebola, yet that is far harder to get than something like a coronavirus, and it's everything about what it contaminates and how it is transmitted. COVID-19 causes a respiratory contamination, and it's through an individual's breath that it spreads the least demanding. There are two known methods by which the infection spreads: individual to individual and through contact with tainted surfaces. In an individual to individual circumstance, the infection can be spread through close contact, which is commonly viewed as a separation of 6 feet. The manner in which an individual can pass it on is through respiratory beads, which are created when an individual hacks or wheezes. Covering one's mouth when this happens eases the spread of the ailment, and contaminated individuals should wear a face mask to lessen the danger of transmitting it to another person. Fact number 7 is: how COVID-19 is detected or confirmed. Probably the greatest issue with recognizing COVID-19 out of a patient is that it presents a lot of like the regular virus. Perhaps the most ideal approach is to check for the infection isn't to check whether you can discover the infection in an individual's body, it's to discover the antibodies the body produces to battle the contamination. The tests that search for antibodies are called serological tests. Antibody tests are most likely the quickest and least demanding method for recognizing the nearness of COVID-19, however it isn't the main way. There are tests as of now being utilized far and wide, which search for the infection's hereditary data in an individual's spit, mouth, nose, and butt. While these tests can distinguish the nearness of COVID-19, they can't recognize individuals who were contaminated and eventually freed from it. Fact number 6 is who is at risk? There is no known invulnerability to COVID-19, which implies that everybody is in danger of getting and spreading the contamination. That doesn't mean this is an ideal time to freeze, since you may get contaminated, doesn't mean you're going to fall over dead in a couple of hours. COVID-19 can be perilous, however, like most diseases, certain parts of the populace are more in danger than others. Little youngsters, social insurance experts, the old, and individuals with an undermined invulnerable framework are the ones who are most in danger of getting genuinely sick from COVID-19. At the point when a solid grown-up gets the infection, there's a likelihood that they won't show any indications whatsoever, and won't become ill. This is one reason the infection has figured out how to get away from the limits of Wuhan, China, to taint the world. Fact number 5 is what are the symptoms of COVID-19? The initial segment of this square is going to list the indications related with COVID-19 that shouldn't frighten anybody, yet the last piece will be about the more perilous parts of the illness. Try not to be frightened, as these are the most pessimistic scenario side effects that won't influence a great many people who are contaminated. The most widely recognized side effects of COVID-19 are fever, hacking, and brevity of breath. These are similar indications the vast majority get from the basic cold, yet they are the mildest potential side effects an individual can understanding. For the individuals who are under a more noteworthy arrangement of hazard because of an undermined resistant framework, or meet the criteria recently referenced, side effects can become unquestionably progressively serious. COVID-19 can expand the odds of contracting pneumonia, it can cause different organ disappointment, and now and again, it can bring about death. Fact number 4 is COVID-19 mortality concerns. Truly, COVID-19 can take an individual's life, yet that doesn't mean the world will wind up as it did in Stephen King's The Stand. The death rate for COVID-19 is evaluated to be 2.3%, and keeping in mind that that number may appear to be low, it's most certainly not. In the event that you think about the death pace of COVID-19 to something increasingly regular like this season's cold virus, it's impressively higher. Seasonal influenza has a death pace of 0.1%, which sees a normal of 1 demise for every 1,000 individuals. While COVID-19 is a lot higher than the flu, it presents as a mellow contamination in most by far of individuals who have had it. Most of individuals who have kicked the bucket in China have been old, and investigations of passings from the infection show that the CFR hops to 14.8% for individuals who are 80 and more seasoned, while those between the ages of 70 and 79 have a CFR of 8%. For individuals who were at that point basically sick when they interacted with the infection, that number hops to 49%, proposing they are the most helpless individuals from the populace. Fact number 3 is avoid becoming infected. In all actuality, there are steps you can take to abstain from getting contaminated, and risks are, you've been doing them from the beginning. Since COVID-19 is a coronavirus, which is passed similarly as a typical cold, the most ideal approach to shield from getting it is to wash your hands with cleanser and warm water, abstain from contacting your face in the wake of coming into contact with anything usually utilized like door handles, and in the event that you need to head outside, attempt to keep away from wiped out individuals. On the off chance that you have worries about ending up in a spot with a great deal of conceivably tainted individuals, you can abstain from going to occasions with swarms, however that may not be essential. On the off chance that it causes you to feel better to wear a face cover, you can do as such, however ensure you get the correct kind. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration perceives 4 off-the-rack N95 respirators, which might be viable in halting the spread of COVID-19. Fact number 2 is COVID-19, HIV, and other conspiracy theories. One reason there are such huge numbers of paranoid ideas about infections like COVID-19 is that a couple of individuals genuinely get it. Ideally, this rundown will help with that, yet there are individuals who hear a remark like, "This infection may utilize the pressing components of different infections, for example, HIV," and their minds will in general run wild. That finding was distributed by researchers at Nankai University, and it's valid. The infection has a HIV-like change. However, that doesn't mean somebody weaponized a type of HIV in a lab someplace and discharged it upon the world, as some paranoid fears have expressed. These equivalent systems show up in numerous infections as the after effect of characteristic changes. That comment has an inseparable tie to the methods for battling the spread of contamination, and research like this assists push with promoting research, which could ideally prompt a fix or vaccine. You may have seen other paranoid ideas, including one about another 5G remote framework being the reason for the malady, yet this is so strangely bogus, it scarcely merits notice. Fact number 1 is what to do if you think you're infected with COVID-19. The absolute first thing you have to do is recollect the words imprinted on the front of the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, which are "Don't panic." Panicking doesn't support you or your friends and family, so you have to deal with yourself to guarantee you don't spread the disease and ensure you get the correct consideration. On the off chance that you build up a fever alongside manifestations of respiratory disease, you should call your medicinal services supplier and request their recommendation. They will realize the correct inquiries to pose to help decide whether you have the basic cold, or on the off chance that you have something progressively genuine. If you dread you genuinely came in contact with somebody tainted with COVID-19 and are concerned you may have it too, you have to get tried. Since you are going out to get checked, be dependable, and keep your mouth and nose secured. This will shield you from passing the infection to others, so on the off chance that you have a respirator or careful cover you can utilize, do as such. And the last thing, which is very important for us, if you stay alive then please stay home and stay safe.
Thanks for watching.